following program is brought to you by Dishonor Productions.
What it is, everybody. Welcome to the Totally Necessary Wrestling Podcast. My name is Kevin Porter, and we are here to cover Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, which took place this past Friday on September the 28th from Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, we watched the show in full, and by gosh, was this a show to talk about for sure, guys. I don't know. It was a fun show, dude. Honestly, it was definitely a good show. I know we're a couple days late in regards to posting this review here. We're actually recording this on a Sunday evening. We just got done wrapping up watching the show. Unfortunately, we had what's the word? Life commitments within the last 48 hours here that kind of prevented me from watching this the day of, but hey man, you know, we are here and we're ready to cover the weekend that was professional wrestling. Yeah, dude, this weekend, just kind of get a little off topic here, you know, but yeah, no, the reason I was not able to cover this yesterday or Friday is because I went to this overpriced punk rock festival over in Seattle as of yesterday, and by gosh, ladies and gentlemen, it had to have been one of the best experiences that I've had at going to a concert in a very long time. I like to get in the mosh pits whenever I go to these types of shows. So anytime I go see any said punk rock band, dude, you're gonna find me in the pit, dude. I don't know. Ever since I went through this like metamorphosis of like getting healthy-ish, I guess, you know, just like really, you know, quitting smoking, quitting drinking, doing all that stuff. Not to get, you know, into personal stuff or anything, but I'm just saying, like, I find that I have a really strong wind when it comes to exercise now. So going into a mosh pit and spending 3+ hours, oh my gosh, like it was such a workout, but it was so fun, dude. I don't know if any of you guys are fans of any of these bands here, but I saw Mad Caddies, I saw Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, The Interrupters, Pennywise, and fucking Bad Religion. And hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, but hey man, we went out to that festival, paid a little bit more than what I would want to pay for a ticket to go stand in the general admission mosh pit area, but you know, hey man, you know, it is what it is. It was a grand fucking time. If you follow me on any social media outlets, you'll definitely see some of the pictures that I've been posting here the last day or so. I was fucking close, dude. Getting to watch Bad Religion up close, smoking a joint. Oh my gosh, man. And then, you know, just by the time Pennywise and Bad Religion came on, dude, I was completely wiped, dude. I was so wiped out. I got as close as I could, and I just admired it for what it was, man. And it was so much fun. Thank you, Ray and Kelsey, for coming along, and we had a grand time. Got home at like 3:30 in the morning because we got back in town about, like, I don't know, if you leave Seattle at like 1 o'clock, you can get back in like a 2-hour drive, so it's typically not too bad. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to cover the weekend that was professional wrestling. So kicking off Ring of Honor, we saw the match between Kenny King and Jushin Thunder Liger. Now, Jushin Thunder Liger is over 50 years old at this point, and this is more or less, you know, it's kind of just, it feels like it's a novelty act at this point. You know, it's kind of like seeing The Undertaker come out, you know, every so often. You know, it's still fun to see Jushin Thunder Liger. I mean, don't get me wrong, every time I see him in a ring, whether that's Ring of Honor, NXT, or New Japan Professional Wrestling, I'm always gonna pop for it, because dude, it's always gonna be a fun time here. This was, if you guys remember, you know, our coverage this past Friday, we see Kenny King. He's kind of, it seems like they're developing him for a bigger run within the company here. I mean, again, we've seen that he's defeated the villain Marty Scurll, Hangman Adam Page, and now going into Death Before Dishonor 2018, having the chance to knock off Jushin Thunder Liger. Within this match here, Liger apparently had sustained some sort of injury, and it looked like King was actually going to be letting him up and allowing him to recover. But after a brief handshake, he suddenly hit a spine buster for the win. It was a pretty violent spine buster, in my opinion. I'm not saying this is definitely not match of the night or anything, but it was definitely a solid opener, I thought. Definitely served its purpose. Jushin Thunder Liger definitely wasn't going to be going over in this match. I definitely feel the right man won, with Kenny King getting the win over Jushin. So definitely all in all, I felt this was a good way to open Death Before Dishonor here on pay-per-view, guys. Definitely Kenny King going to be moving up the ranks here in Ring of Honor, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what is in store for Kenny King. We saw the Briscoes take on the Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, which we saw initially Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian be accompanied to the ring by Scorpio Sky, thus being, solidifying the group known as SoCal Uncensored. I don't know why they, what's up with the, I know before SoCal Uncensored was formed, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, which they've been a tag team for, 5 years or whatever at this point. We're known as the Addiction. Now with Scorpio Sky, there's SoCal Uncensored, so we got two team names. I don't know. It's a little confusing, I think, in my opinion, but it is what it is. So ultimately, this was a pretty it was a pretty fun match. I thought everybody brought their working boots. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the Briscoes here. Going in, I was really hoping that the Addiction would take the win here, but nonetheless, we saw the storyline kind of get developed here, where Frankie Kazarian basically got incapacitated and caused Scorpio Sky to actually come down and check on his stablemate, his teammate there, to make sure he was okay, because he'd suffered some sort of laceration in the back of his head. It looked pretty nasty. I don't know. You didn't really see a lot of blood coming out of it, but definitely you saw that they had a towel by the end of the match that was on the back of his head that were due to the injury. So I don't know if this was a planned out spot that went into this the ending of this match here, with Christopher Daniels basically having to take on the Briscoes by himself. But ultimately, that's what ended up happening with Frankie Kazarian becoming injured and not being able to compete and finish the match. I think a lot of people thought maybe, okay, Christopher Daniels he's gonna pull the underdog victory, right? He's gonna overcome the 1-on-2 situation and defeat the Briscoes and become tag team the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion. Kind of like another side story, which we didn't really necessarily cover going into the pay-per-view breakdown this past Friday, was apparently the Addiction's contract is coming up here at the end of this year. So the storyline wise, they're saying that the reason Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian are trying to win the tag team titles back is to make sure that they have some sort of negotiation leverage, some leverage going into negotiations in regards to their contract with the Ring of Honor. Again, it's simple storyline telling there. I like the story. I like that story. I mean, it kind of goes into some realism in regards to, hey, maybe their contracts are up, and this, there's a chance that, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian may end up going somewhere else. Where else they may go, I don't know. Time will tell. But nonetheless, here you kind of saw with Christopher Daniels, you kind of thought that maybe he was going to be able to overcome the odds, but unfortunately the Briscoes did defeat the Addiction with Christopher Daniels taking the pin here. Solid match. I think everybody came, again, just like I think this whole pay-per-view, everybody, I'm going to say it with every single match, everybody came with their working boots. Nothing really bad to say. I mean, again, I was hoping the Addiction would come out with a win here. I thought it was a solid match though, and I was very entertained with it. So we'll definitely see what happens with excuse me, those fucking random coughs, guys. I apologize. We'll definitely see what happens with Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. So SoCal Uncensored definitely seems to be one of the hottest acts within Ring of Honor, so it's hard to believe that they would be really going elsewhere. But you never know. You never know what's down the road when it comes to professional wrestling and where one might go. So we shall take a wait and see approach in regards to what happens there. Our third match of the night, we saw Sumi Sakai defend her Ring of Honor Women's Championship against Tennille Dashwood. Ultimately, Sakai defeated Tennille Dashwood via armbar submission, but Tennille did not submit. She ended up going the Austin Brett WrestleMania 13 route in regards to Tennille just ended up passing out while she was in the armbar. This was a pretty, and again, like, I'm not trying to say the work rate wasn't, it wasn't like, again, this isn't necessarily your match of the night or anything like that. But again, it was a solid match going and showing that, both these two are hungry, and it looks like within Ring of Honor, they're definitely trying to establish, a solid work rate in regards to the women's matches. So, nothing really much to say about this match outside of, like, again, I know based on my preview, I was really hoping Tennille would pick up the win here, but hey man, Sumi Sakai will be moving forward as your Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and will be taking on all comers, it appears. Tennille Dashwood. Later in the evening, they showed that Tennille was attacked, and she was playing up her injury to her shoulder earlier in the match, but they showed her in a backstage segment on the ground, basically being attended to, where a secret attacker had taken out Tennille Dashwood. So we'll see what's going on here within the next coming weeks on Ring of Honor television, and where that story goes. Hopefully maybe we have a debuting wrestler. I understand that Madison Rayne apparently just signed a contract with Ring of Honor, so maybe that was a way of getting Madison Rayne featured within the Ring of Honor women's division. I'm not too sure exactly where this will be going, but one shall wait and see. In our fourth match of the evening, we saw Punishment Martinez defending his Ring of Honor television championship against Chris Sabin, ladies and gentlemen. Based on the build up to this match here, a lot of it was with Chris Sabin going into this match basically at the hest of his former tag team partner Alex Shelley. On the ends of Shelley retiring, or I don't know if that's the right way to say it, the ends, the coattails, I don't know. With Alex Shelley retiring, he basically told Chris Sabin, hey, go win gold. That's how you can make sure our legacy lives on, by you succeeding within Ring of Honor, and go win, starting with the television championship here. Punishment Martinez, again, he kind of reminds me of that Baron Corbin type, big, tall, lanky guy. Luckily, Punishment Martinez has a better hairline than Baron Corbin does. His delivery, I mean, apparently he was a winner of the Top Prospects tournament that Ring of Honor does yearly a couple years ago. So he's definitely a work in progress regarding in-ring style, also with his promos as well. But in the little that I have seen from Punishment Martinez, I'm definitely enjoying it. He's definitely one of those characters that doesn't necessarily have to say a lot, it feels like, in regards to get his point over. That definitely was evident in regards to the promo video going into this match. Directly, we saw basically Punishment Martinez defeat Chris Sabin with a chokeslam to retain the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Basically, it was a good back and forth match here. Chris Sabin, definitely a very underrated talent when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. I mean, I know we all know him from the Motor City Machine Guns and his time spent in the X Division scene within TNA, and also obviously within his reign as Impact World Champion. I mean, one cannot look past that. It reminds me a lot of Daniel Bryan when I was watching this match here. I really just saw, Daniel Bryan 10 years ago or something. I don't know. I really enjoy Chris Sabin as a professional wrestler, and I really hope to see him do well within the company. Ultimately, it'd be awesome to see him go and make that jump to WWE. Am I confident in WWE to use him the right way? I'm confident that maybe being brought to NXT, he could be featured. Maybe not necessarily on the main roster, but again, Chris Sabin, he's definitely undervalued as a talent when it comes to professional wrestling. I definitely, advise you guys definitely keep an eye on him and seek out his matches, man. Again, Punishment Martinez, he's definitely on a roll as your television world champion. After the match, Martinez, he tried to stomp Sabin's head through a chair, but apparently, and again, this goes back to what we reviewed this past Friday here, Jeff Cobb making his presence known in Ring of Honor, and not necessarily coming to the aid of Chris Sabin, but after the match there, who comes out is Jeff Cobb. He basically he stares down Punishment. Punishment retreats, but returns and hits Jeff Cobb with the chair. Jeff Cobb completely fucking no-sells this shit and basically delivers a power move to put the champ down. So it looks like that's where we're heading down the road here. It is a Jeff Cobb, Punishment Martinez feud over the Ring of Honor television title. I think this is definitely a great way to bring Jeff Cobb in. I think ultimately we're going to see Jeff Cobb take the television championship down the road. I'm all for that. Again, giving my opinion on Jeff Cobb here this past week. I'm a fan of the guy, and I'm definitely interested in seeing what he does here in Ring of Honor. So definitely a very fun match with Punishment Martinez and Chris Sabin. Definitely, again, not necessarily your match of the night or anything, not necessarily even anything to really go out of your way and see. But nonetheless, I still enjoyed it. Chris Sabin, again, very underrated. Punishment Martinez definitely growing as a performer. Jeff Cobb, again, throwing him in the mix here. This is a great first program to introduce him into Ring of Honor and introduce him to the fans of Ring of Honor. If they weren't aware of him already, because again, he's busted the Top Prospects tournament. I don't know if they're going to be continuing that, but apparently it's reached us to the point to where we're going to see Jeff Cobb take on Punishment Martinez down the road. So definitely looking forward to that, guys. We saw in probably what, in terms of promo videos, was my favorite build-up in regards to a match. We saw Bully Ray and Silas Young take on Flip Gordon and Colt Cabana. And man, if there's a couple things I could definitely go out of the way to check out, and definitely the promo video building up this specific match here is money, dude. Bully Ray, it was basically just Bully Ray more or less narrating his way in regards to how Silas Young, Flip Gordon, Colt Cabana are all involved within this match here. And it's awesome, dude. He references his I don't know. I'm not even going to go into great detail regarding the promo video, but if you get a chance, man, look up Bully Ray's promo video for the Death Before Dishonor match here. Ultimately we saw, and again, this was actually it started off as man, this could definitely be my favorite match of the night here, because I just love fucking brawl fights, man. And that's what this was to begin this. We saw, Bully Ray and Silas Young taking on Flip Gordon and Colt Cabana here. It was a brawl to start it off. Flip Gordon, this guy is a rising star, guys. Okay, Flip Gordon can do some amazing things in the ring, and definitely I would advise go out of your way to watch this match. Again, it's not necessarily match of the night or anything, but I found myself just completely entertained with this match. Ultimately, we saw Bully Ray take out Colt Cabana to begin, because it was an elimination tables match. So it came down to Bully Ray and Silas Young taking on Flip Gordon, basically in a handicap match. Flip Gordon did this amazing spot where they had the table set up in the corner of the ring there, and they went to throw Flip into the table, but Flip did a backflip. He ran in towards the table, and then using his momentum did a backflip off the table, thus causing Bully Ray to go crashing through it and eliminating Bully Ray. So it came down to Silas Young and Flip Gordon. Ultimately, Flip Gordon did a 450 splash through the table, through Silas Young, through the table, and should have picked up the win here, but the ref, they had done a bump spot with the ref earlier in the match, causing the ref to be down during the spot, so obviously the ending was up in question. Another spot kind of going back into it was the feud itself between Bully Ray and Colt Cabana. Also involves Ian Riccaboni, which he is the head play-by-play announcer for Ring of Honor. I've always enjoyed it whenever they've involved announcers in a wrestling angle. I mean, obviously you don't want to see this all the time or anything, but I think for this specific, I always like that, you got obviously Bully Ray. He's a bully. He's a bully towards Ian Riccaboni. And who's going to step up for Ian Riccaboni? Of course, his partner, Colt Cabana, because Colt Cabana does he does announcing with Ian Riccaboni typically most weeks. And so, we saw Ian Riccaboni get involved prior to Colt Cabana getting eliminated from this match here. But again, I just want to make that comment that I really did enjoy Ian Riccaboni being involved within this feud here with Bully Ray. So ultimately, again, going back to the 450 splash through the table there, we saw basically Flip Gordon win the match over Silas Young, but again, with the ref being down, Bully Ray being a fucking bully, he basically he takes out Silas Young, puts Flip Gordon, makes it look like Silas Young threw Flip Gordon through the table, gets the ref up. Oh, the ref calls the bell. There's your winners, Bully Ray and Silas Young. Again, I don't know what they're doing moving forward. I don't know if we're going to be continuing this Bully Ray and Silas Young and Flip Gordon, Colt Cabana feud. I think at this point here with your Bully Ray and Silas Young winning, I mean, I could definitely see another blow-off match coming down the road here. I kind of figured this would be the blow-off match and we would see Flip Gordon and Colt Cabana take the win, but apparently that was not the case. That was not what was going, definitely was not the booking idea. So again, another wait-and-see approach in regards to how this moves forward. So yeah, again, this was a fun match, dude, and I definitely would advise to go out of your way to watch it if you're a fan of those tag team brawling matches, man. I mean, those are my favorite ones to play on the video games when it's bedlam, dude. You just everybody's in the ring, you're just beating the shit out of each other. You're putting people through tables, you're grabbing weapons, and not to say there was a lot of weapons in this match or anything, but again, it was a very fun match, and I definitely would advise to go back out and check it out. So in our double main event, so we did not see the 10-man tag main event the show as I thought possibly, but it definitely was built as a 10-man, or excuse me, as a double main event show here. So our next match was the Bullet Club, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and Marty Scurll taking on Chaos, which is Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, Rocky Romero, Chucky T, and Trent Beretta, best friends respectively. So this was definitely just a very fun match. Again, if you're a fan of multi-man matches, this is definitely a match to go out of your way. I wouldn't necessarily say this was a storyline driven match in regards to Ring of Honor television. I don't know if this is basically, a carry on. They basically stated that, Bullet Club and Chaos have fought all across, international waters and stuff. So obviously this is going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling and stuff. So it was just kind of a schmoz in terms of just let's get everybody on there and let's everybody get their shit in basically. In regards to the match itself here, gotta say Tomohiro Ishii is definitely a fucking beast. We talk about on the podcast, about how, I like big beastie fucking wrestlers. I can really enjoy a big motherfucking wrestler that can just kick ass, dude. And Tomohiro Ishii definitely proved that. I mean, his moniker is the Pitbull, I believe, is one of his nickname or whatever they had made mention, and definitely kicks ass, dude. So everybody kind of just got their shit in there. It was definitely, this is I would definitely say this is I wouldn't say this, I don't know. I would say this is probably, I don't know. I don't want to say this is my match of the night here. Ultimately, we saw Bullet Club defeat Chaos with Marty Scurll tapping out Rocky Romero with a crossface chicken wing. It was a fun match. Ultimately, we saw and kind of a major announcement, I guess, in regards to the NWA anniversary show. That's the 70th anniversary show that's going to be coming up here very shortly out of Nashville, Tennessee, that the NWA is putting on. Ultimately, we're going to be seeing Cody Rhodes defending his NWA Heavyweight Championship against Magnus, Nick Aldis, in a rematch from their match at All In earlier earlier this month, I guess, because technically it's still September. So we're going to see that. But it was announced during this 10-man tag that this that their world title match will be a 2 out of 3 falls match here. So more or less, it feels like, at least having Nick Aldis on commentary, that's what the purpose was served in regards to. At least some sort of storyline development, which is kind of weird, that we're having this whole, NWA being promoted on a Ring of Honor show that was from a show that was, an ultimate. I don't know, man. It's a weird time to be a professional wrestling fan here, guys. It's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy, I feel. But yeah, again, this was definitely just a giant fucking spot fest, and it was a fun match. I really enjoyed this match, Definitely, if you haven't seen it, this is definitely be one of the matches on the show you definitely want to go out of your way and check out. In our main event of the night, though, we did see Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Jay Lethal taking on Will Ospreay. And just a little side note before going into this match here, speaking of like how they're promoting the NWA Championship match there, we saw Cody Rhodes get on the commentary table there basically and do a little bit of a verbal beatdown towards Nick Aldis, basically stating, yeah, I accept the 2 out of 3 fall stipulation to our match here, and he'll see him in Nashville. The spot that I kind of wanted to point out there, because again, we're promoting NWA on a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Ian Riccaboni made the mention of like, okay, well, not to sell our own selves short here. They transitioned to the Jay Lethal Will Ospreay match for the Ring of Honor Championship. They made a mention of like how the Ring of Honor title is more prestigious than the NWA title. Because again, it's their own show. So obviously you want to promote your own, within your own TV show there. But nonetheless, here we saw Jay Lethal taking on Will Ospreay. I would definitely say this is my match of the night here. They did a really good job with the promo video, just building up this match here. Apparently this was Jay Lethal, Lethal Ospreay 2. They'd had a match here some time ago. Apparently that Ospreay's last match within the company was against Jay Lethal, which ultimately was a loss. So they built up the fact that, Ospreay hasn't come back to Ring of Honor just based on his ass beating that he received from Jay Lethal the prior year. Dude, Will Ospreay again, man, if you haven't gone out of your way to check out anything regarding Will Ospreay, you really need to go out of your way to go check him out, man. His match with Ricochet here, several years back, obviously that was kind of like, kind of a name, setting him up, dude. Like, definitely, what's the word? What's the phrase? His coming out party. Yeah. It's like, that was his coming out party. And ever since then, he's definitely, been taking the junior heavyweight, title scene, IWGP junior heavyweight title scene, by storm, I would say, dude. I mean, he's definitely been the star on Rise in regards to, New Japan Professional Wrestling. And again, great seeing him here featured in a very featured spot in Ring of Honor on obviously the main event of Death Before Dishonor. I mean, fighting Jay Lethal for the World Heavyweight Championship here. This match was very, very, it was going to be a good fucking match from the very beginning. Jay Lethal extended his hand out to Will Ospreay. Ospreay ultimately declined the handshake, thus we knew what we were getting ourselves into here. Definitely, just a very fun, hard-fought match here. We saw one point Jay Lethal lay a super kick onto the ring announcer. It caused a pretty fun spot there where he super kicked the ring announcer, which he had the title in his hands. He flew it up in the air. Ospreay catches it. We don't know what Ospreay's going to do because the referee's all distracted with helping the ring announcer. So you think Ospreay's going to, he's going to do the bad guy thing and he's going to hit Jay Lethal in the face. But ultimately, there was several spots building up to that where what's Ospreay going to do? Ospreay ultimately never did hit Jay Lethal with the title. He never did cheat, but every time he teased it, he dropped the title, it would hit him with these fucking awesome ass combos and shit. Ultimately, Jay Lethal did defeat Will Ospreay to retain his Ring of Honor championship. At the very end, we did see Jay Lethal and Will Ospreay shake hands and embrace. Hopefully down the road, we can definitely see more Will Ospreay within Ring of Honor. They did state that he's the longest reigning television champion of Ring of Honor history, so that's fucking cool there. And again, hopefully we see more of Will Ospreay. Definitely want to keep an eye on him. I know tonight's the New Japan Professional Wrestling special out of Long Beach. They're having another show out here in the United States out of Long Beach, California. And, no spoiler alerts there. But I know Will Ospreay was going to be facing the villain Marty Scurll in a semifinals, or in a, I guess it would be a semifinals match to determine a new IWGP junior heavyweight champion due to that title having to be vacated earlier this year. So anyway, after the embrace between Ospreay and Lethal, we saw Vinny Marseglia and TK O'Ryan attack them both post-match. Ultimately, this led to Jonathan Gresham trying to come out and help out his good friend Jay Lethal. But unfortunately, he got the beat down from beatdown from Vinny and TK Orion there. Essentially the Kingdom. They were making mention of where's Matt Taven? Where's Matt Taven? Because he's ultimately the leader of the Kingdom. But they were like, he's in Mexico. But when Lethal started to fight back against Mariscalia and Orion, this led to Matt Taven running out and attacking Jay Lethal and taking him out, and he had a purple bag with him, and everybody's like, what's in the bag? And he pulls it out, and it's a purple Ring of Honor world title belt, and he picks up the Ring of Honor championship and has the purple Ring of Honor championship, and he holds up his purple belt, and he's like, I'm the champion, and does like, that's how they went off the air. So they went off with the tease that the Kingdom, they're back, they're in Matt Tavern. Taven. I don't know why I don't want to say Tavern. It's Taven. Matt Taven is going to be your next opponent for Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor world title. Matt Taven, man, I don't have a lot of experience in regards to him or the other two dudes from the Kingdom. I know, I remember hearing about them back in the day when Mike Kanellis and was in the group with him back in the day. I remember hearing about the Kingdom, but hey, man. It's good to see that we went off the air with the cliffhanger. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens here this week on Ring of Honor television, and hopefully we have an interview segment with Taven, and we find out what his motives are. And again, we will see that match down the road. And dude, I look forward to seeing more of the Kingdom. And again, man, Taven seems like he's a cool guy. He's got a new haircut. So cool, man. I'm totally down for that, man. And that is how we went off air for Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 2018, man. So ultimately being my first Ring of Honor pay-per-view in regards, this is my very first Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I was, again, like, I'm not going to say that Ring of Honor is your be-all, end-all for professional wrestling regarding, like, the content of it, but it's definitely a very enjoyable weekly show, and the 2 hour and 55-minute pay-per-view this past Friday was definitely worth the investment. Again, I think your Bullet Club Chaos match was very fun. Definitely go out of your way for that. Go out of your way and check out that Bully Ray promo. I definitely thought that was money. And again, your main event, Jay Lethal and Will Ospreay, put on a definitely a very solid match. Again, definitely, I would give it a thumbs up, dude, for Death Before Dishonor. Again, my first Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to it, guys. I'm looking forward to watching Ring of Honor TV this week and moving forward with covering some Ring of Honor, guys. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, albeit brief review of Death Before Dishonor. Again, we have a full week of podcasting here on our network. We have the Dragon Ball Z Happy Fun Time Hour. Jessica and Jameson will be back for that. We have the Totally Unnecessary Wrestling podcast. Again, I don't know who's going to be the guest on there this week. Haven't quite figured that one out yet. We have some ideas. We have some leads going forward there, so we'll figure that out on Thursday. And then on Friday, ultimately, again, we'll be back for the Totally Necessary Wrestling podcast, covering whatever happens this week on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Ring of Honor television. Hey, we may even go over what happens at the New Japan show, Long Beach show. Is taking place today as we're recording this. So, hey, man, dude, guys, thank you for all the feedback. Hey, go out and give us that 5-star rating on iTunes. It'll definitely give us a hand. Send us some feedback, man. Maybe we'll read it on the air. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Kevin Porter, and we will see you next time.